So we talked about briefly a little bit about the lawyers and the brokers, but again, I hear so often from clients that I'm going to have the lawyer renegotiate my lease. Let's take a hypothetical market. So you're in Bethesda, Maryland, and you're in an office space, and your lawyer is on K Street in Washington, D.C. That lawyer has absolutely no idea what your rent should be, what the tenant improvement money should be, what the free rent should be, what the annual escalation should be, because they're not real estate professionals, they're lawyers. One of the attorneys who we work with a lot actually has told me that he thinks it's actually malpractice for an attorney to be renegotiating leases because they're in a field that they don't have knowledge or expertise. So if you think about common sense wise, if a lawyer calls your landlord and says they're representing you and they want a better deal, yes, the landlord will probably give you a better deal because why not? You're already paying way over the market. But you don't know how low the deal can be. So if you think about it logically, the broker can achieve the best possible deal terms. Then the lawyer can make sure that, again, those deal terms get into the lease document, or in this case, probably a shorter lease amendment, and that there aren't any other terms that are too burdensome. In addition to that, oftentimes when you renew your lease, there may be something from a legal perspective that you missed 10 years ago, or the landlord said no to. Now's your chance to take another bite at the apple and try to get that term that you missed incorporated into the lease amendment so you'll have it going forward. So we talk about, again, the facilitation and the team of professionals earlier. Now we're talking about renegotiating the lease document, but it all ties together to effectuate the best possible deal for you going forward. It's important in the renegotiation process to understand what your plans are, maybe not just for the next 5 years, but as far out as you can entertain. Most medical, dental, healthcare, veterinarian professionals are at some point going to entertain or consider selling their practice. So the lease is not just important for you, but the successor of your lease is going to want competitive deal terms. And whether or not they buy your practice is oftentimes going to be influenced heavily by your lease. So if you just sign the first thing the landlord puts in front of you because you're 57 and you figure by the time you're 67 you're sitting on a beach in Florida, you may have just prevented yourself from selling your practice because the potential buyer of your practice, when they do their due diligence, is going to want to pay the market rent, or they're going to want to pay the fair market value of your building. So you want to make certain that when evaluating your succession plan and the ultimate end of your career, that you renegotiate a solid lease on your behalf.